Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the GW Panther. It's the Tier 7 German SPG. It's located on the north spawn of Malinovka and it's under the command of Tarantula. Is that E77? No, E87, NE87. So TarantulaNE87. Don't know what that means, but I know what a tarantula is. And yes, it's a rather hairy spider, which a lot of people are frightened of, but in actual fact they're just basically cuddly little insects who eat other insects, but well, they're not insects actually, they're arachnoids, but I shouldn't actually defame the arachnoid clan, because after all they do help us by getting rid of a lot of pests. Well, this Arty gets rid of a lot of pests as well. Now, its original name was in actual fact the Gorilla 1215, because basically it was designed back in 1943 to 44 as a Waffenträger. Well, he did get a hit on the T-71 for 331, but we didn't get to see the shot actually land on the target because he pulled back immediately after shooting. I hope it's not going to be one of these replays where I have to take control of the camera a lot just to actually see what's going on. I think it might be. Oh, he's decided not to shoot that Easy-8 simply because we lost sight of him. And I'm wondering if he's going to move up to where the Lansom was last seen. Oh, the Easy-8's come back. He's letting it dial in. Not ready yet. Oh, he got tracked. He did get tracked. Yes, it does look like it's going to be one of those replays. Oh dear, oh dear. We're denying us all the fun of actually seeing the enemy tank get hit. Now, what actually happened is that Krupp came up with a series of designs for what they would call Waffenträgers, weapon carriers. And what they intended to do was use existing vehicles and turn them into other vehicles that could then be used to attack and kill enemy tanks. Now, this one specifically was designed to utilise the Panther hull and to turn it into an SPG, and a self-propelled gun. But this self-propelled gun was supposed to be an artillery to complement the Hummel. Now, the GW Panther got the nickname Dracula because of the shields alongside the turret in which the gun's mounted. In fact, that gun itself is rather interesting, because originally it was going to be a 128mm gun, but Krupp, because they were building other vehicles with 15cm guns, decided to put a 15cm into it instead. If they'd actually fitted a 128mm, it probably would have had a faster fire rate than the 15cm that it's got at the moment, because it would have been a smaller shell, but not by much. But it makes sense to have a 15cm shell, because after all, the Hummel's a 15cm, and so was the Gorilla. Now, one of the things in favour of the Gorilla is its damage rate. Its alpha is 680, but it's actually got a fairly fast reload time. You can see here that he's got a reload of 23.3, but the book reload is 25.39. Or is it 89? And that's very good compared to some of the 155mm howitzers in the American line. The other thing that's really good about this Arty is it does have a very wide arc, 52 degrees in total. That's 26 degrees one side and 26 the other. And that's very similar, you might say, to the M44. That's got 30 degrees either side of the centerline. Well, this one's 26 degrees either side of the centerline. Now, it's very difficult to get a shot on that Lansom because he is in the dip, but he's popped up out of it. Oh, and he missed the opportunity to get a shot on the target there. And he turned away. I'm not sure why he did that, but now he's having to redial in again. No, he's doing it again. And I think the reason why he turned away was these two guys, the T-3485 and a Jag Panther, who are coming in from the south. Well, he did get some damage on the Jag Panther too, but he's outside view range at the moment to us, so we didn't actually see any damage. And that T-3485 is on his last legs. So if you can land a shell near that guy, he will take him out the game. Now, Krupp actually did make a scale model of the GW Panther, and there were some photographs of that scale model. The Germans are very good at making scale models and toys and that sort of thing. One of the best things they do. And so they showed this vehicle to Hitler, and it was, in theory, supposed to go ahead, but no, the reason it didn't go ahead was because they were just too short of Panther tanks, and they needed the hull for the Panther. So it never got put into production, even though it could have been. It just didn't get accepted. He's going for the Yak Panther. I think he's lined it up. Didn't get the kill. I'm afraid we're not seeing where these shells are going. Tarantula, you're going to have to change this, because otherwise if you don't let us see what's actually happening when the shell goes out the other end, all we're seeing is you firing and then pulling back, and we're not seeing anything at all happen to the enemy. So it doesn't really make for a very good replay. All we're seeing is a tank pulling back after shooting and then having to look to see what the results were. Well, he did get some damage on the Lanson. Now, the other thing that's a bit of a problem regarding the GW Panther in the game is that Wargaming have actually given it a derated Maybach engine. The normal Panther was actually quite powerful, and it did have a reasonable turn of speed. But the problem is, in the game, they've actually given it a much less powerful engine, which means that this thing is very sluggish to move about, incredibly sluggish. And so it really is a very difficult Arty to play, because you want to move somewhere fast, you won't. In return, you do get good firepower compared to the Hummel. But the long... Oh, he did kill the Yak Panther. He got him this time. The other problem, of course, is the long barrel, is that the trajectory of the shell is fairly flat. As I was trying to say that word and I just couldn't get it out. Okay, it's a very flat trajectory. And the problem with that, of course, as you may know, is that... oh, we got a good hit there on the KV-2. With a flat trajectory, it means that the shell does reach the target quickly, but you can't fire over obstacles. So if you're trying to hit a target that's hiding behind a rock, you're not going to be able to hit them, because the shell is coming in so shallow that it's more likely going to hit the rock rather than the target. So the only thing you can do under those circumstances is try to aim for the sides of the rock and hope that you can splash the target with some damage instead. The explosion radius, by the way, is 7.6 meters, so if you can get a shell fairly close to them, you might be able to do some damage. Well, he did get a hit there, and he's got some stun assist. Well, we're in a good position now, because we've got 4 tanks up on the enemy. Oh, only 3 tanks up now. And so we do have an advantage, and our tanks are moving south. Tarantula fires around at the EIS, and he got him. So that's his second kill of the game, and he's going for his third one. Can he get this IS? No, because somebody gets there before him. The AMX-13F3. I actually did a comparison of the different engines for the Maybach to see why this vehicle actually has such a slow speed. And it appears that it's just simply that Wargaming doesn't like Arty, so they gave it a very weak engine, and they suggested this because, I presume, and I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but I suspect that the reason they're giving is that they thought, well, if the Germans were going to build such an Arty, they'd know that it was moving about slowly behind the lines, and therefore it wouldn't need to have the speed of the Panther Maybach. Instead, what it would do is they give it the derated one, which would, without the supercharger, so it wasn't a very quick tank. I mean, the standard Panther is relatively quick, because it's got the best the best engine that they can give it. But I get the feeling that Wargaming trying to suggest to everyone that no, this one was going to get the worst engine. Oh, there we go. Did you see that? There's some tracer coming from the bush. No, he's missed it. He's got the wrong one. It's the other bush, slightly further to the south. I think, no, it's the tree to the left. If I hold it with my mouse, it's that tree there. That's where he is. So he's just there. But I don't think Tarantula's seen that. It's okay for me that I can actually pick the controls and do that, but you can see the tracer coming out from that Arty, and I'm just wondering if he moved after that shell landed. I don't think he would have, because it would have been outside his visual range. There is an Arty there. Somebody just knocked the tree over down below. Another problem with the GW Panther, which a lot of people don't appreciate as in the game, is that it's not very good at shotguns. You may think that it's good at shotguns, it just doesn't have the ability like the Hummel to do shotguns well. I think some players have learned all of its faults and problems, and they've managed to work out how to shotgun with this thing, but its lack of gun depression, it really has, well, it's only 3 degrees of gun depression, that's all it's got, which makes it very, very cumbersome. And he's guessing and he's still there. Now, yes, he does need to go north, because if the SU-130PM is coming in towards the cap area, even if he's moving slowly, because he's been damaged in some way, he needs to move away from it so that he can get shots at it when he gets close to the cap without being seen. So he's moving into the woods, and the Cannon will act as our eyes and ears. Okay, he's turned himself around and he's lining up on where the target was last seen. In fact, he's got a lot closer. He's lining up a shot, working out. Oh, that's a kill. So that's 3 kills for Tarantula. And that's it. That's the end of the game. They got them all. Here's the end of battle results for TarantulaNE87 in the GW Panther. Well, he managed to get an ace tanker in that game, although we didn't see much of what he was actually hitting, I'm afraid, because he didn't stick with it most of the time. He did get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 17. A Gauze medal for doing more damage than 10 times, well, 8 times the hit points of your own vehicle, actually. We found that out from the wiki. A Confederate medal for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And he also got the High Caliber for dealing the most damage in that game, at least 20% of the enemy hit pool. We look at the team score, we can see there he is, right at the top of the table with 3,036 hit points of damage, beating the SU-130PM that he killed right at the end, 2,786 hit points of damage to him. And then the third was the Wizzy 111 1G FT, who managed to get 1,994. When it came to kills, the high scorer was the AMX-13 F3. He did 5 kills in that game, but it looks like he was probably kill stealing or finished off wounded animals, because he only got 1,386 for those 5 kills. But the 4 kills went to the Wizzy 111 1G FT. And then we got also the GW Panther on the enemy team was actually very good. He got 4 kills as well. And then we got 3 kills for Tarantula. And he was, so he was actually in joint, third place overall, because the AMX-13 was top. The Wizzy 111 was shared second, and then he's in third. That's right. But when it came to base XP, yeah, he's top on that one. So he's got top in 2 columns. 1,240 base to Tarantula. 1,040, sorry, 1,240, not 1,040. 1,040 went to the Leo, 904 went to the M44. He fired 21 rounds in that game, got 8 direct hits and 1 penetration on the enemy, 17 splash. Damage of 3,036 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 3 of them, and did 504 hit points of damage assistance, plus 1,195 hit points of stun assist of 14 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 36,884 credits from that game, and after ammunition resupply, he took away 31,806. I think Wargaming's not telling us about something that's missing here. Yeah, they usually do. What Replays is not a very good site for having all the information about your victory. That's why we suggest you use the Salty Jedi site or Des Games site or any of the other sites which are independent of What Replays, because on those sites you're going to get the full information, everything about your win. 1,240 XP for the battle, times 2 for the first victory, 3,720 for personal missions payout, and he took away 7,440 experience points altogether. So not a bad game, ace tanker game in the GW Panther. The only suggestion I would have for Tarantula is please stick with watching what the shell does when it hits the enemy, because we like to see the enemy tank being damaged or to see exactly where the shot fell. It also gives us an idea of how you've been affected by RNG. If you fire a shell off and nothing comes from it, it could be that you got really robbed by the RNG, and we need to know that sort of information. But it also helps to see a shell that actually strikes the enemy and does damage to them, especially if there's more than one enemy tank together, because then you can get to see the damage to more than one of them at the same time, which is a lot more fun. But congratulations on your ace tanker anyway. And if you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.